Okay, I think we're live. Hey, folks, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the live stream with Guitar Hack. We got a very special guest today. We've got Mr. Absolute Mayhem in the house. Say hello, Mr.
Hey guys,
Mayhem.
how's it going, man? Guitar Hack, how are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing good. It's like we got a bunch of people already in the room. So let's see who we got here. We got R2R3. How are you, Fender Guru? I just messaged you. I think we got that worked out. Jeff Replinger, how are you? Kevin Lester is in. Jeff Replinger, how are you, sir? Brian Cote, man. How's it going? Paul Liu, Mr. Ben Coombs stepped in. Absolute Mayhem. How's it going, buddy?
Doing great.
Yeah, what are you up
Tuesday,
to? Tuesday. What are you up
Tuesday.
to these days, man? Are you playing? Are you a lot? Are you
I'm,
practicing? Are
I'm
you
I'm practicing
driving?
every day. I've pretty much, I think, in the last, I don't know, when did I start playing again? I started playing again in around March, and I tried that 90-day challenge, play every day for like an hour. Could do that every day, but
Oh, that's
I think
uh,
I've only missed like 3 days since March.
okay.
You
That's
know,
cool. That's a good way to approach it, actually.
and I'm not trying to like learn a song. Like I can pick up little bits and pieces, but I'm just trying to practice chords, get rhythm down. I'm playing with the guitar. I picked up one of those little amps, the Mustang GT40. So
Oh
it's like a
yeah.
modeling amp and plugs into your
Hmm.
phone. You can do all the sounds, and I'm just playing with the guitar and practicing, just strumming and I'm not really at the play for fan state yet, but I'll go on and I'll do like some of the guitar lessons. Like I use Marty Music quite a bit. He's a
Marty Schwartz.
Yeah, Marty Schwartz's channel.
Yeah.
Although I find he plays it his way, not necessarily the right way. The other thing I use is I bought a version of Guitar Pro 7 or Guitar Pro 9 or whatever the latest version is to download the
Mhm.
tablature, and I found
Right.
that was a nice way to do it. But again, you watch one guy play it on YouTube and he plays it one way, then the tab does it a different way. So you kind of try and pick the way you know, whatever works best for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking about that the other day. You know, sometimes you've got to go. I at least once a week I've got to learn one song or two, and I just go on YouTube and I search out guys that play the songs,
Right.
and sometimes I have to go to three or four different. One guy will play the intro right, one guy will play the middle part, whatever, and you kind of piece it all together. And sometimes you just, as long as you get a starting point, you just maybe figure out the rest from there. But there's one, if and I recommended it the other day. There's a guy. It's called Guitar 365,
Okay. I think I've
and
seen his videos.
that guy, and somebody mentioned his name too, Carl something. Anyways, it's the YouTube channel is Guitar 365. That guy is always on the money.
Okay.
He plays it always correctly, perfectly. And if there's multiple guitar parts, the other thing that's good about it too is he's a completist. He does everything. So it's
Right.
not just okay. Here's the intro. Here's the
He's a
chorus.
solo.
Yeah, he'll do the solo. He'll do alternate parts, like the whole thing. So you can
Okay.
learn everything from. But it's just that he doesn't obviously do every single song. So like
Right.
when songs are available, that's immediately what I jump on.
Well, I'll tell you one of the biggest things that as a like this, the guitar community is really great. Like I've been welcomed in by almost everybody, and they know that I'm not a rock star. I don't gig. One of the closet guitar basement players or bedroom players, and it's okay to do the lessons. But I found when you're trying to play a song, like I was doing Paranoid. That was one of my favorite songs. And I thought,
Right.
it's very repetitive.
Hmm.
Um, it was watching the guys do like a cover to find the fingering. Like it's not just if you go get tab and it's like which finger is more effective to when you go to move it, because a lot of time you can figure out how to play it, but it's very very mechanical, it's very clunky. But then you watch some guy play it really fluidly and it's because he's keeping his fingers at that one spot, to make the progression. And I find that when I watch the guys actually play it and at speed, that helps the most, because it's not
Yeah.
just what string or what fret, you know,
Yeah.
that's great to know, but it's, where your fingers are. They don't have tablature for like where you leave the fingers that aren't currently being used, because sometimes it makes more sense to use a ring finger, or keep the finger there because you're gonna have to use it again on the next string.
Yeah, I just wanted to welcome some more people that popped in. Dave Zar Guitars is here. How are you, sir? We've got Pooh Ninja.
Hey,
It's
Pooh.
dinner time for Pooh Ninja. Brian Cote, how's it going? Who else we got? Oh, Guitar Girl, how are you?
Kailyn.
Hope you're completely off your fever, but I think from what I've seen, I think you are. So that's awesome news. Mitch Heyman is in the house. How's it going? Jason Wade, how are you, sir? Jason Wade's a huge Pink Floyd fan. Just letting you know. Uh,
I don't know if you can see it, but I got a strap. Pink Floyd's one of my favorite bands.
oh, there you go.
I don't know
There
if you
you
can see
go.
it.
Yeah, that's a long running joke.
Oh, is
We
it?
got we got. I don't know how to even start it. I don't remember. But anyways, so we got 20 people watching. So if anybody's got any questions for Mayhem or myself, let me know in the chat. I'm trying to like talk to Mayhem and look at the chat at the same time. So I'm going to be missing things. So if you really want me to see it, please put at Guitar Hack so my name will light up, and then I'll know to go to those right away. Oh, and as I'm here talking, Broken Chains just popped in. How are you, sir?
Yeah, Broken Chains.
So you said you stopped playing for a while. Like when did you actually start playing, and what got you
So,
interested in music?
well, a friend of mine, when we were in high school, would kind of play with the guitar. Probably, I don't remember what year it was. And then I started dating a girl, and her brother played the guitar. And Ben and I have talked about this story before. He had an electric guitar. It was nothing special. And then one day I came to his apartment because he was like a couple of years older than me. I was still in high school, and he had a girlfriend in his own apartment. And he was a cool guy. He always listened to like Metallica, uh,
Oh yeah,
Ozzy Osbourne, like everything heavy metal he was into, and even newer stuff at the time, like Faith No More and um, just a bunch of like whatever was popular.
hmm
Anyway, he showed up and he's like, "Go ahead and check this out. I got this guitar." And I'm like, "Okay." And he flips open this. First of all, it's a big square case. I wasn't a guitar person, so it came in a case that was like, I always see them hanging on the wall. That shocked me. And then when he opened it up, it was this black Kramer Beretta, and it had the yellow guitar stripes on, or the tire tracks on it, and
yeah.
it's the Honeymoon Suite guitar.
Ah,
And apparently he seen a guy that he knew that was questionable, and apparently the story is that these people, a boyfriend and a girlfriend, won the guitar, and John knew them. He was going to visit them, and he's like, well, "You don't play guitar, would you?" He's, "Yeah, what do you do with this guitar?" And John was just kind of playing the guitar. He wasn't
right,
really into it. And he's like, "Oh, that guitar's worth a lot of money." He could just tell. And he goes, "Oh, we won it at a Sam the Record Man guitar opening. They had like a ballot where you could win this guitar from Honeymoon Suite. It's
right.
it's not signed or played on stage. It's just like a replica, right? But
hmm
it is a Kramer American Beretta, and I think it's like an 80, 87 or 88 or maybe an 89. I don't remember the year. So
hmm
he's like, "Would you sell me the guitar?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know, man." He goes, "Well, I'll give you $500 for it." And the guy looked at John, and John was pretty well known in like the area. He was like the really nice leather jacket, like like one of those back in the late '80s, whatever. He had like the rock and roll leather jacket. He goes,
Yeah,
$500 in your leather jacket, and this was in like October, Canada, right? So it's freezing out.
cold. Yeah,
So he's like, I'm going to get the money at the bank. Here's my coat. I'll be back with the money." So he said he walked in the freezing cold down to the Bank of Montreal, whatever, pulled out $500 and came back, and then he got the guitar in the case, and then even the strap had like the tire treads on it.
cool.
Anyway, he had that, and he got an amp a couple days later, and then he was kind of playing around. I'm like, "Oh," and he go, "Can I try it?" And he's like, "No. If you want to play this guitar, because it was like special, right?" He
hmm
goes, "You got to learn how to play." So then I went out and bought some crappy guitar. It was white, and I think it had knockoff EMG style, just a guitar volume and a tuner. I don't even remember what model it was. It wasn't an LTD, but it looked like that. And what he would do is, once I kind of got good enough on my own guitar and I didn't have an amp, he'd let me play the Kramer, and that was like the dessert, right? Like I would
Yeah,
practice all
yeah.
week playing. So that kind of got me into rock and roll, and I did that for probably a couple of years, and then I got my driver's license, and I got a car, and
That,
put the guitar away, and then I went to
put away.
college, and then went
Yeah.
to work and had a family, and then it was meeting Ben, I think back in the last year or so, talking about guitars when I'd meet him at the vape shop, and I started looking at the YouTube channels and Johnny Beane's channel, and I got thinking, I got money. Why didn't I go buy a guitar and an amp? It's only a couple $100. I went and found one at the I used one. That's the Schrecter. This one, the first one I got.
Let me just stop here for a minute. We got a few more people that popped in. Quentin James, how are you, sir? Broken Chains. I mentioned Broken Chains, but hello again. Dave's Our Guitars is making a comment. Absolute Mayhem, he says, one of the things that helps is learning some scales. Also, when reading tabs, you'll start to see some of those scale patterns emerge. Then it's experimenting to find what works. So he's just giving you a little tip there. So let's see that guitar. What is that again?
That is a Schrecter.
I'm gonna present you. Okay, there you are.
So I'll take it off from here.
Okay, cool.
So it's a really, I mean, I love the neck profile on it. It's very Ibanez style. I guess that's the kind of I kind of go for.
Yeah, so wide and flat, basically?
Yeah, wide and flat. Yeah. And I believe it's like an SGR series. When I looked them up, they have a very similar body pattern, the two pickups and the three-way switch. It's usually the SGRs that's that same body style.
Yeah, it looks good, man. I think it looks brand new.
No, it's a 2007. It sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll sound good through the mic. Usually, when when people play through.
I suck.
Yeah, no, it's not that. The sound, it's like you're underwater, right? You got to have like an interface for it to sound decent, which I don't have either. So,
and I think, well, since talking guitar, the other guitar that I have, it's kind of known by a lot of people on the channel, but some people haven't seen it. This is Ben Coombs' old Ibanez.
Okay, yeah, we've been hearing a lot about that. Yeah, that's a sharp looking axe, man.
I mean, yeah, it had a little bit of work done. I got it set up by an actual guitar luthier. It took about 3 weeks to get it done, but man, you're right. You said it on your videos before. Finding a good guitar tech is just like it's like worth its weight in gold. I mean, this guitar was in good shape, but he cleaned it up. He replaced a piece that was missing on the Floyd Rose. I didn't even know it was broken. He replaced that, got everything working. I just recently broke the tone pot. It stopped working.
Yeah.
But the action on it's just amazing. This thing stays in tune forever.
Yeah. No, like, yeah. I mean, we were talking about that. Yeah, like finding a tech is like worth his weight in gold. Like, I don't know how many people I've been through, and then when you find that one person, and what's funny is when you take a guitar like that, you've had somebody that's not that great work on it, and then you bring it to somebody else, and they're like, "What the hell?
What'd that guy do? Yeah.
What the hell did that guy do?" You know? And yeah, and I like off air before we got on, I was telling you the story. So I've got I don't know, I've been going on a run of things getting repaired, and my guitar is actually still getting worked on. But the guy that's doing it is a good buddy of a guy that used to work on all my guitars, so he's got his his approval, and I've heard nothing but good things about this guy. Like, he's worked on friends of mine's guitars, and it was the same thing. So a buddy of mine, before I took my guitar into him, he had a mutual friend of ours, who shall remain nameless, who was actually trying to open a business working on guitars. So that's why he's going to remain nameless. Anyway, so he worked on my buddy's guitar, and then and it was again kind of messed up. So he took it to this guy that mine is with now. And the guy's like, "What the hell? Who worked on this?" Like, it was all out of joint, whatever. Like, it was not set up properly. The neck angle was off. Like, the spacing, like the action was nowhere near factory spec, which he was told it was. Like, it was just completely. He had to redo the whole thing.
Wow.
Right. So, yeah, they're definitely worth their weight in gold. Oh, what's up, Doc? Just stepped in. How are you, sir? Jeff Underwood, how you doing? Yeah, so you stopped for a while. Yeah, the school and the family thing. I think that's very common, eh?
Yeah,
You know.
and in time too. But then I got thinking. I play a lot of video games, and I know that I work in the IT area, and I got a lot of downtime. But I just got thinking, like, man, playing video games is really fun, and all the first person shooters and all the different games. But there's no takeaway skill from that. Like I thought,
Yeah.
I when I was talking to Ben, I just happened to, I was watching Johnny Bean, and I don't know whatever the video came up. I seen like a guy who was like 90 years old or 65. I don't remember. He was pretty old, um, and he decided to play the guitar, and he did the 90-day challenge, and it was one of those time ones, a time lapse where he started.
Yeah.
He literally never picked a guitar up before, liked music but never played it. I think he was about 65. He was probably retired, but he bought a nice guitar, like an American Fender, and
Mhm.
anyway, and just at first he was like me, like he kind of knew a little bit, like he must have did a bit of research to kind of know what he was doing a little bit, but he couldn't play. And then he got better, and after 90 days he was playing a song. I forget what song it was, but I'm like, man, if that guy can do that, I should be able to do that. And what if I did it longer than 90 days? So
Yeah.
that's kind of what really inspired me. Plus the guitar talk was, I always looked at guitars, I always watched guitar videos and solo videos, and I've always loved metal music, almost all kinds of music. And I
Yeah.
thought, why don't I just spend an hour a day playing the guitar, and then after a year, I can probably play the guitar somewhat. It's a skill you can take with you. It's not something that's just a worthless video game skill.
Yeah. And yeah. I mean, and the rush too when you play is, I mean, it's cool when you can sit and play a song that you've heard that is got like a really cool riff, or if there's like a solo or just something, and you
Right.
can sit there and reproduce that. I don't know about you, but for me, man, that is such a rush, even
Well,
to this day. You know what I mean?
sure, I can imagine. What surprised me was I love the old rock and roll, like the old metal, like the 80s and early 90s, the 70s, and not so much the 60s, but like, Ozzy Osbourne and whatnot, and
Hmm.
Black Sabbath. And not necessarily just practicing, but like watching the videos and the tutorials and stuff. When I hear people play songs, and I'm like, I know what those two notes are. Like I know how he's doing that. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that little lick. I know where he's. I've either done that practicing before, like someone said
Yeah.
on scales,
Or you
and like,
recognize the skill, yeah.
yeah, that's kind of cool. So
Mitch Heyman's got a question for you. He's saying, can you ask Absolute Mayhem if he's had any issues with 1809?
1809.
Do you
Not
know
sure
what
what
he's
he means.
talking about?
No,
Is it? It's not one of your guitar models, is it?
I don't think so.
Mitch Heyman, if you want to re-ask that, and if you can be a little more specific. So there's a lot of talk in the chat about practicing and getting better. Dave R is well. This is toward Jeff Underwood. He's saying no matter how much I practice I put in, I just can't make my fingers move fast enough, and that's just okay. It just is what it is. So I'll throw my 2 cents in there, Dave. I can't shred. Um, I've tried. I'm relatively quick with the picking hand, but I find I have to cheat. And well, some people don't call it a cheat, but I do a lot of legato. But I can't play like super fast. I've given up. You just got to play to your strengths at the end of the day. That's what I find. If you can't play fast, play slower, but make it count.
Yeah, that kind of was something that I've heard a couple people that say now. Guitar hack is like, I can't do this, like and I was like, wow, the guy can really play the guitar. Like I heard him play lots of songs. I watched you play live, and to hear you say, well, I'm not like a shredder, but I heard you play like 3 full sets worth of the songs that were amazing, and I'm like, oh, so there's different styles of music and skill on the guitar, just like probably anything, right? Like,
Yeah, so you just brought up that point. I should tell that story. I've told it before. Oh, Mitch Heyman, before I get into that, he's asking about the Windows 10 fall update.
no, I haven't had any issues with any of the Windows updates
Okay,
on,
there
on
you
any of
go.
my on any of my PCs.
Okay. So yeah, let me tell that story quick because that was kind of cool. So for those of you who haven't heard the story, I actually met Mayhem in person, and this was kind of funny. I mean, it was funny and it was really cool. So was this like a month ago, about
Yeah,
thereabouts?
yeah, it was
About a
sometime in
month ago.
September.
Yeah. So again, relatively new to sort of the community here. So I'd only been in, maybe a month in or whatever, and on some of the chats, and, I'd started doing things on my channel. And, I'd seen Mayhem in the chat. And on one of my streams, I mentioned that I was playing a show in Port Hope, which is a city about an hour and 20 minutes away east of me, which is, I think, an hour away from you.
Yeah, about an hour, yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, so we went out and we're playing the show, and it was a weird show, and it's something I don't know, I've never done before. We played 2 sets, like literally two full shows in the same day. One at 2 in the afternoon, and then one at 10 at night or whatever it was. So, we play the first set of shows, and then we're sitting in the hotel room, and we're kind of just waiting around for the next show. I go on my phone, I go on YouTube, and Metal Axe was doing a live stream.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
So Metal Axe is doing a live stream, and there's Mayhem pops in. He goes, "Hey, Hack, when's your second set? Or when's your next, thing?" Right? And I said, "Well, we're going on at, I don't know what it was, 9 or 10 or something," right? And then, so Mayhem's asking me, well, what the address is and all of this kind of stuff. And he says, "I'll be there." And I'm like, okay. Because, I mean, anybody that gigs, you'll know, I mean, if I had a dime for every time I had somebody tell me that I'm going to come see you play.
Sure.
And, it's like, you just, okay.
You'd have 2 dimes, right?
Yeah. It never happens, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So next thing I know, and again, keep in mind that I'd never seen you before. I had no idea what you look like, right? So I'm up on stage doing a gig. Well, you'd seen me because at least my videos were up.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm up doing a gig, and then I see Mayhem walk in, a guy walk in, and he's kind of waving up to the stage, and I'm in the middle of a set thinking, holy shit, the guy showed up. And then we hung out the rest of the night shooting the shit, and we had a great time. It was a great night, actually. It worked out well.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was good times, man.
And that's like, when I hear someone like yourself say that you can't do this, I mean, you're an amazing guitarist. You're very modest. You're really, really good.
Modest or honest, take your pick, brother.
Well, you're pretty good.
Anyways, yeah, no, that was cool that you did that. That was awesome. And then you were nice enough to record the gig.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The third set. And then I was able to put. You want to know something? I got a copyright hit on one of those clips. Right?
Did you?
Yeah,
I just wish that I had brought a better camera with some lights, because it was so washed out with those stage lights. They were
everything was red.
Everything was red, eh?
Yeah.
And I tried to get a couple of photos of when you guys played. One of the things that you're gigging, so you're probably focused on the music and whatever. But as someone that's watching, is like when those certain songs came on, the whole dance floor was just packed with people, dancing, and it's not just me sitting there by myself. It was actually pretty active. I mean, there was a couple of spots where people sat down, and I wish I had recorded the drunk girl at the beginning, the first set that kept wanting you to play. Or I guess it was the second set. They wanted you to play a song you already played, or we just did that song.
You wanted, I mean, I got a million stories, man.
I bet you do.
Anybody that gigs, you've had this happen. You get the drunk person, right? In this case, it was this girl who just literally stood in front of the singer yelling at him for not just for a minute or two, or for 4 or 5 songs. And then did you notice her girlfriends would come and then take her away?
And then she'd come back.
And she'd come back again and do it again.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then
me and the bartender were laughing about it.
Oh man. And then the other thing was, so then, they're on the dance floor, and we had the PA speaker sitting on stands, and she basically knocked one, and it's doing this. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like right beside my freaking head, and it's like, okay, one of two things: it's gonna hit me in the head, or it's gonna fall on the dance floor, and it's gonna take somebody out. Like it was just, stuff like that.
It looked like you guys were all like, yeah, this is just what happens when you play a gig at a bar.
Yeah. Oh, I've had people follow my gear. I've had people want to get up on the little stage, and they want to there's no room, right? And then they'll fall over.
Can I get a selfie right when you're in the middle of playing?
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Oh, we had that too. People get up. Hey, can I take a picture? Like, really? You're stepping on my pedals, man. Yeah. Oh, I had, I've had beer like spilled on my guitar. It just goes on and on. Yeah. So Brian Cote's making a comment here. It's all about playing with feeling, not about how fast you can go. Emotion wins every time. You're absolutely right, Brian. I completely agree with that. Oh, so Ben's saying, guitar hack, Mayhem's never come see me play. You must be good.
No, it was just Ben. I apologize. I didn't even get to see your last show. I guess I always thought I could get to see Ben's show anytime, and it was just one of those right time, right moment. No family commitment to anything. It was kind of like I think it was like 8:30 when I said, "Hey, what's your address?" And by like 9 o'clock, I was out the door. And I think I was there by 10:30. So
Yeah,
it's just one of those spur of the moment. Like I
it's
got
just
nothing to
crazy.
do.
It's just crazy. Like all the stars lined up, eh? Like it just worked out well.
Where's Ben? Ben, I'll go see one of your shows whenever you have one coming up. I'll make a
Guitar Girl just came up with a great idea. She goes, Ben Coombs, organize a Canucks con so we can see all you Northerners playing together.
yeah, that's a good idea.
There's
There's
a
quite a
good
few of
idea.
us.
Yeah. Uh, Jeff Rupplinger, modest and honest. Yeah, I try to be anyway. Oh, Shauna Marie Sings is in the chat. How are you, Shauna? Todd Flowers is in. How are you doing? Wow, we got 34 people. Wow, this is crazy, man. Marco's Images. How are you, sir? This is great. Thrash Metal. How you doing? Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. So again, getting back to the original. Oh, Sean Zimmerman. How are you? Just popped in. Uh, we can hold Canuck Con at Honey Badger HQ. Guitar hack. There
Yeah,
you
we should.
go.
Yeah,
You know what?
we should have a barbecue. That's what we should do. Gigs and barbecue and gigs or Canucks or something. I don't
We
know.
got to figure that out. Yeah, you know what, Ben? I'd be up for that, man. If you want to set that up, but it's getting kind of cold. Maybe, maybe next year when it warms up.
Ah,
Because
where are tubes?
that highway 401 east around Coburg, man. That's Whiteout Central right there. Oh, Broken Chains has a question. How much do setups cost in Canada compared to U.S. dollars? Guitar hack. A setup here, I don't know, anywhere from about 60 to 75 bucks if you do like of the full sort of deal.
Yeah. So on the Ibanez, I took it in. I got it restrung, and the guy kind of he didn't really set it up. He just kind of like cleaned it off a bit, and then I paid 95 bucks. Like I had it for 3 weeks. He did the frets. He lowered the action. He replaced part of the Floyd Rose, one of the parts that seat. I don't know, like the piece that comes out where the string
Yeah,
sits
the
in.
barrel.
One of those things was broken. He actually gave
Yeah.
me the broken piece
Mhm.
actually back. He taped it to the receipt to show me that it was broken. He replaced that, cleaned it up, polished the frets, cleaned the fretboard, and tuned it up, and went over all the electronics, made sure everything works. And I was like 95 bucks. Oh my god! It's
95. Yeah, because you replaced some parts, right? That's probably why it was as high as 95, but that's not bad, man.
no, I didn't think it was bad. I mean, um, yeah, it was kind of okay, but it's also nice to know that a luthier touched your guitar and set it up.
Yeah,
And all I said to them was I like low action on the strings. That's all I.
everybody likes low act. Well, not everybody, but most people.
Most people do, right?
Mitch Heyman is saying it would be good if we all in this guitar community of ours could have a meetup sometime. Wow. That's I love that idea in theory, but getting everybody in one place. I mean, I know that there's people in the chat. Well, I know we have a lot of people in the U.S. and we got a few Canadians in here. We had Fender Guru on earlier. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he's in New Zealand, so that's a hell of a drive.
Yeah,
Getting everybody together.
get the paddles on the tires.
Yeah, get the paddles on the tires. Yeah, make sure the windows are rolled up. Yeah. So just catching up here. Everyone but Ace likes low action. Yeah, Ace Frehley's album. I finally heard it today.
Did
It
you
was.
like it?
I got to listen to it a couple of times. There's already a couple of things that I do like, but usually I gotta. It takes me a while to digest. So,
So
but
how are you with albums when it's something like that? Is your first reaction like I don't like it, I'll never listen to it again, or do you like kind of like listen to, like, do you give it a fair chance? Because I look back at some of the albums that I'll just pick one. Like, there's a lot of really good um like Def Leppard albums, right? There's a couple, like every song, every album in that kind of their heyday of the late '90s or late '80s.
Yeah.
Um, like but I've gone back and I've bought the album, whatever, downloaded off iTunes, whatever, and then I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, there's a lot of really good songs in there. I only, when I was younger and you had a cassette tape and you had to kind of like sit it on, or a DVD, you'd put the best songs, and that was all you ever listened to. And I'm like, wow, the albums are actually really, really good. I just,
Yeah.
with music now that it's so easy to get in the backlog, I find that at first I wouldn't really listen to all not the A side tracks and no B side stuff. But wow, you go
See,
back.
I like that. See, I like the deep dive. I like going into the. I don't. I typically I don't like the really commercial stuff. I like the B sides.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just me. Michael B's in the house. How are you, Michael B? Terry is in the house. How are you? We got Terry. We got and Sonia. Wow, we got 35 people watching. This is fantastic. Marco's image is saying that he's got a big place in Vancouver. He goes, set it up. Terry's saying there is a fair amount of us in Ontario that it would be cool if we could meet up somehow.
I think that one's possible.
That one is possible, yeah. Well, I've been out. I met Ben. I drove out. He's 100 miles east of me. So I've been out to meet Ben already. So I got no problem driving 100 miles. And Brian Cote, who's in the chat, he mentioned that he was in Alliston, and Alliston is not far from me either. So there's a couple of us sort of in the vicinity here.
Well, I've drove many, many times, 3-4 hours for work. So I mean, a couple of hours driving on the highway isn't a big deal.
Well, Shauna Marie Sings, pardon, is in San Francisco. Now, that's a bit of a drive. Yeah, we're trying to get into the new. So with the records you were mentioning, like, if it's something like Ace Frehley, and I'm gonna give it a few
Right.
less because it's Ace Frehley, because I mean that's what I grew up with, and there's that, he's got all that signature stuff that he does that, that I really like. He's got his arsenal of guitar licks, and he really recycles them a lot.
Right.
That's what I mean. But I mean, they're just so near and dear to my heart that it doesn't bother me.
Well, I think the recent album that shocked me was the new Metallica album. I was coming home from Toronto, and one of the Toronto stations was part of like the bigger radio station community. It was some kind of national US probably, and they did a live listening, and it had I don't know if it was actually the night of the album release. It might have been, but it had Kurt and James Hetfield talking. I don't know if they were cut in between, but they would talk for a bit, and then they would play the song.
Right.
And I listened to that whole album pretty much out of going into Toronto, and I liked every single song on that album, like Atlas Rise, and I kind of gave up on Metallica. I kind of like didn't go past Black Forever, like I heard a little bit of a few of the ones, but I mean, I like the older stuff. Like I love Kill 'Em All. I love Ride Lightning. I love the other ones too. I'm not really a huge fan on Justice for All, a couple of the songs, but
see, I like Injustice for All. I like the earlier Metallica stuff. Mitch Heyman says Ontario's only 890 miles from me. That's not bad.
That's not bad. That's a day trip.
Yeah. Jimmy T's in the house. How are you, Jimmy T?
Hey, Jimmy T.
Jimmy T. Gussie Wells. How are you, sir? Man, I got 36 people watching. This might be a new record. I always say that it's a new record because every week, man, bless you all for coming on. This is great. It just goes up one or two, it's like, it's awesome.
So
great.
This is fun. Did Art notice my sign in the back?
System of a Down?
That's the kind of music I like. I like the thrashy metal.
I like them too.
I like the old rocky stuff, but like I like the newer stuff, like the Rage Against the Machine, these kind of guys. It's got a little bit of a twist. I love Audio Slave. I love Tom Morello.
Arvon Gott's in the house. How are you? You know what I like about System of a Down is they've got a crazy level of musicianship. I mean, when what's their, is it Toxicity? Is that the record?
That's probably the most famous, or Steal This Record, one of those two.
That, there's songs on there where like they literally in mid song they go like there's time changes and then literally they get into it, they play a polka and then they pop out of it and they play the heaviest riff.
Yeah.
It's on a dime. Like these guys are incredible musicians, man. I'm a huge fan actually. There's not really a lot of new stuff that I like. Right? But those guys are one. Well, I guess they're not even new anymore, really.
Well,
right?
yeah, they were like in the 2000s, and I've actually been kind of following the band a little bit. There's so much band politics, that band probably will never get back together. And they may do a reunion at some point, but
yeah, I read that.
Sergio, or the lead singer, he kind of wanted to do some new stuff, but the main guitarist guy that you see that plays all the awesome riffs that we probably love, he kind of wanted to stay in the same wheelhouse. And he likes the politicalness of a lot of the songs, and he kind of wanted to stay in that. And Sergio kind of wanted to go in a different direction, and because they're kind of experimental. Like they have some really weird songs that like they still fit with their music style, right? Like they transition really great from like Forest is a really cool song, ATWA, and then halfway through that song, towards the end, it completely changes. Like I thought it was a different song, but it's actually just a completely different version of the song. Like it's just awesome.
Stafford Studios in the house. How are you, David? Yeah, and that's why I like him so much, is because these guys are just crazy, crazy good players, right? Crazy good musicians, and like there's a whole other level to what they do, right? Compared to a lot of the other bands. But yeah, with new music, there's not really a lot of new stuff that, I'm an older guy, right? I'm going to be 52 very soon. So, it's really hard. I think a lot of it is an age thing, to be honest with you, because I've heard it all before.
Well, I honestly don't think it's an age thing. I think it's like for me, when I hear like an old Aerosmith song, like Sweet Emotion, I
Yeah.
can remember where I heard it for the first time. When I heard like Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue, I know exactly where we were.
Yeah.
We were on Howe Island at like a little quarry. We were going swimming, and it was playing on my friend's. He had like a ghetto blaster. I can remember, like, I think when you hear songs that you like, you kind of cement in your memory the good times when they're on. Just like if you're sad, don't listen to the radio, or it'll depress you, right? But
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I don't think it's that when we get older. I think that the music we really love gets tied into aspects of our life as we're going through it.
Okay, we're at 39 viewers. If I hit 40, I will have broken a record. I'm pretty sure of that. This is insane. Thank you so much, folks.
So I showed you the guitars. Do you want me to show you what's behind the doors?
Oh yeah, okay, that's right. So we have the big reveal.
All right, here I'll do it. Hold
okay, all right. Let's see this. I've seen it already. I actually took photos with it. So let's see what we got behind door number 3. Okay, let me present. Oh yeah, there she is. Nice.
So yeah, so I got a couple of guitars, but that's my baby.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, like their guitars are their baby. Well, that one there is my baby.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful car, man. That's a beautiful car. That's the one he brought. So for when I was mentioning earlier, when Mayhem came out to see us, that's the car he brought. And then he brought that around to the parking lot. We all took a photo in front of it. So it was very, very cool.
Yeah, I thought
Jason Wade is reminding me that when Guitar Curl was on, we hit 47 plus. Oh.
Challenge.
Oh, we hit 40 now. Let's see if we can get another 7. Let's see if we can break that 47 record. The Jason Wade is keeping track better than I am. Oh, it's funny.
But that's the thing, right? I mean, everybody has their hobbies, their passions, and driving around listening to music in my car makes me, like, I hear a song, like I run home and I want to watch a guy, do a cover or solo or YouTube video tutorial, and I don't always try and learn it, but I kind of like. I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of like, listen and learn a little bit. I don't necessarily try to play every song that I like. I don't want to try and learn it. I'm just
Well,
So
it
like,
inspires you to play, right?
yeah,
Like, so today I'm listening to Ace's record for the first time, like I was saying, and I'm hearing songs, and I'm like, man, I want to learn how to play that song. Or I'll hear like a little bit, maybe a piece of a solo or something. I'm like, that's a really cool lick. I want to learn that lick. Like, yeah, it's all stuff that sort of gets you, in the mindset that you want to pick it up and you want to play. And watching these videos too, man, and people talking about guitars. Usually when I'm watching a YouTube video and
guitar, yeah.
I'm just watching it, I got a guitar in my hands and I'm just running scales or I'm doing extra. It's like, you know what? Instead of watching TV and doing it, I'm watching people talk about guitars and I'm doing it.
Yeah, exactly. I
So,
did the same thing all the time.
anything that sparks that flame is always a good thing, right?
And it's also interesting when you're new and you're trying to learn. It's sort of like, when you get older, you kind of get into your routines, and having something new to learn and challenge you. Like,
Yeah,
guitar's limitless. Like, you'll never master it.
never,
You'll probably never master one aspect of it. And
never.
also,
Soda Pop just came in. How are you? Yeah, we one thing that came up the last chat was that whole. I think somebody mentioned it, or I may have mentioned it. Is that whole thing like what makes what's a beginner, what's an intermediate, what's an advanced? Those terms don't really mean anything, right? Because you could talk about a professional musician and say that they're advanced, but at the end of the day, are they really advanced? Because can they play everything? Because nobody can
right.
play everything, right? You know what I mean? It's just
Except for Dave Byron.
what's that?
Except for Dave Byron.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Okay. Yeah.
Or R2. I
Dave
just
Byron will get a pass for me for sure. Yeah.
talk to
No,
Dave.
I think the best thing you can do is just pick your battles, right? Pick something that you want to do, and then try to try to be the best you can at that particular style, right? And when you get tired of that style, then move on to something else. I'm just gonna go to the chat here. Oh, Guitar Pit says I'm an advanced 15 plus year veteran terrible player. Guitar Pit, welcome. Didn't see you there. Yeah, Guitar Pit, we all share your pain, my friend. We all share your pain. Yeah. So, and I've mentioned this a few times. I'll mention it to you. Anybody that is, here I am now. I'm a teacher. That's my job, right? You know that, right? So,
Yeah.
if anyone thinks I can help them in any way, beginners, well, again, I'm using that term, but with I mean, if you go on my channel, you can kind of get a rough idea. Again, I'm the guitar hack for a reason. But if anybody, wants a little bit of help with something, by all means, hit me up on my Facebook page. I've got the link below. Send me a message, and I'll do a Google Hangout with you, and we can chat, and I'll do whatever I can to help you out. I'm not charging anything. I don't do this for money. I do this purely for fun. Okay, so just putting that out there, and I'm including you, Mayhem. If you ever, want a little tip or something, just shoot me a line, man. No worries. Let's see. Brian Stewart's in the house. How are you? So we're at 40. We hit 40, so that's very cool. So yeah, if anybody has any questions for myself or for Mayhem, and please, if you can address it at Absolute Mayhem or at Guitar Hack, that way we can see them, and then we can make sure to answer them. That'd be very cool. Yeah. So let me ask you this, because everybody's got sort of a different approach. Like you were saying, you did the 90-day challenge. So like when you sit down, like what's your, do you have
what do I do?
what's your regimen? Like or do you just kind of pick it up and whatever pops in your head?
So what I told myself to do, what I did before when I played the guitar, when I played guitar when I was in high school, I was like like a Rob Baker kind of style. Like I could play like 30 songs, but I could play like 5 seconds. So like, oh, that's a Motley Crue song, or that's a Guns N' Roses song. I only ever learned like the either the little bit of the solo that you could distinguish, that song. I said I
Right.
don't want to be like a lick master. I don't want to just play like little riffs. So every time when I picked the guitar up to play, I forced myself to go through all the chords a couple of times each. Like I figure if I just keep doing it, I'll eventually get good at it. I'm like okay with a D and an A and a B, C, I still can't play it. I use like a bar chord C when I have to play it.
You gotta stretch those fingers, man.
Yeah, it's all practice,
I
right? So
remember when I was learning, I think the hardest chord for me to play was an F first position. Not the bar chord, just the high part of the chord.
yeah.
That
Well,
for me was a challenge.
the other thing I'll practice, I'll try to do like a full. I think it's like the full F, where you use like your index finger, your pinky, and your ring finger, and go through the whole. And I try to play the chords clean all the way through. I also didn't realize there's some cheater chords, like you can play a lot of them with two fingers or two string.
Uh,
But I said I wouldn't do that. So I but
Jeff Underwood is saying, "You guitar hack, we're going to do a picking exercise video." Jeff Underwood, I have one. I think it's the first video I ever did.
yeah.
It was, yeah, when I started the channel, I didn't really know what the hell I was going to do. So I just kind of threw a bunch of stuff. Well, the first couple of things I did, the first two videos I ever did were one was building up finger strength, one was picking, an exercise that is, I think, is still one of the better finger exercises. It just, I'd like to coordinate the left and right hand. And then the other one I did was a finger strength exercise. Then I started doing gear review. My gear review videos are actually my most watched videos. I've got a video with 13,000 views of me comparing two amps, which is insane. Mind you, it's been up for a couple of years though. But yeah, go and check those out. Here's a question. Guitar hack. Do you guys count the years you took off from guitar?
No.
No.
I started at 0 again. I mean, I knew what tablature was because it was just coming out. There was no YouTube back then, obviously. I knew what guitar tab was. I knew what the chords were. I knew the shapes of the chords. I just couldn't get anything to work. Like when I first started, it was like almost almost kind of worse than not knowing anything because I probably had bad habits. And but I just
Yeah.
started from 0. Back in March, I started from 0.
Well, I like. I mean, I've mentioned this before, and probably making everybody sick because I keep repeating myself. But I didn't. I stopped for 12 years, and I only started playing again right when my dad passed. So that's about 6 years ago now. And when I started again, I couldn't even play a C chord. I was starting from 0. So it really, it's only been the last 6 years that I've been playing more or less consistently.
Sean Marie asks who our favorite guitarist of all time is. Mine's real easy. Uh, Dave Gilmour from Pink Floyd.
There you go.
I mean, a very close second would be either Dave Mustaine or Metallica, Hatfield. But I like all.
Jeff Replinger is asking, when will my guitar Les Paul be out of surgery? The guy that's working on it phoned me today, and he's having a hell of a hard time finding my vintage Clouson tuner. Apparently, nobody in Canada has one, so we're trying to figure that out right now. So that's the only thing that's keeping it still in surgery. Mitch Heyman says, "Play the Police song." Oh yeah, buddy. Yeah, Every Breath You Take is a killer. Message in a Bottle is a pretty good stretcher
like,
too, if you try that one.
Get those fingers out.
Yeah. Oh, Shauna Marie's question. Okay, my favorite guitarist of all. You know what? That's too hard to answer.
Just throw a name out there. Just throw.
I mean, Ace Frehley's. That's where it sort of starts with me. But Jimmy Page is a very close. You know, Jimmy Page, Ace Frehley, Nuno Bettencourt.
I like Slash. I mean, I love the whole
Slash.
era. There's tons. I like Tom Morello.
Yeah.
It's endless. There's just so that's the thing. There's just so many good guitarists and musicians. Not even just
Yeah.
not even just guitarists, but musicians and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's too hard.
What guitar act for you? When you hear a song you like, I know like as a guitarist you like the guitar, but is it like do you like the whole song? Like, because I'm a huge Chris Cornell fan. I love like Audio Slave
Mhm.
and all those guys. And the Temple of Dog stuff that he did, then his solo stuff. I
Right.
mean, there's some great songs in there, and Audio Slave was a great band, but I mean, I kind of like the singer. That's what really drew me. Like, there's obviously those songs have like certain licks that stick out, but for me, it's usually I get hooked by the singer, not really the guitar. It's usually like the whole collective or the singer. Usually, to me, is where I kind of get hooked into a song.
Well, you really can't have one without the other, right? You know what I mean? Like, if you can have a great riff, but if the singer's bad or the melody doesn't kind of, yeah, I think I'm like you. I kind of listen. Well, I listen to it more as a whole, as a unit.
Right.
You know, I mean, it might be something that'll grab me. Like maybe maybe the riff will grab me first, right? But if there isn't any riffs, if it's just like a nice chord progression and then singers throws a nice melody over top of that, that'll hook me just as well, right?
Yeah.
I think I look more of it, look at it more as a whole. You know, everything's got to kind of work together.
Yeah.
Just going through the chat here, make sure I'm not missing anything. People are talking about time off from playing. Okay, Gussie Wells, he's 15 years off, 3 years playing now. Okay, totally hear you, man. I'm way behind in the chat. I may have a tuner. Oh, thanks,
really?
Ben. Yeah, man, be cool.
There you go.
Paul Lou, I still haven't figured out how to play guitar, but I sure do like picking those strings. Yeah, and I just got to get the fingers in the right spots, Paul Lou, and that's a challenge we all have, brother. Okay, Sonia's going into the other room. Arvon Gun, I stopped playing electric guitar for 20 years, but I was playing open tune slide.
Oh, wow.
Came back to my, yeah, see, there's another thing, slide. Brian Cote, Joe Bonamassa. I'm going to see Joe Bonamassa November 2nd. I got tickets, and I'm in the pit. Because I
Nice.
want, oh man, Joe Bonamassa is, I want to be close enough that I can see that 59 Les Paul.
When he sweats, it hits you.
I want to see that guitar up close because I'll never play one in my life. Joe Perry, we got a lot
So
of
Guitar Hack, when you practice, do you use like a headset? Do you have a full amp? Do you have a practice amp? What do you practice with?
I don't use headsets. No, I at home. At home, what I'll do is I just play through the amp. I'll play through the amp, and usually when I practice, I don't bother breaking out the pedals or anything.
Right. You just go over the.
Yeah, and yeah, and I'll do my exercises and all that. And, you know, I warm up right before I start playing, and then and then the last thing I do usually is I'll use backing tracks and just play against that. You know, and I try to pick. I mentioned this the other day. I pick keys that I'm not comfortable in. So like if I pick a backing track, it's not going to be an A because you know.
Right. Everything goes with
No
it.
brainer, right? Or E. There's another no brainer. I'll pick like, you know, I'll do like an F or like a, you know, some key that I don't normally play in or a C or whatever, right? Just to, you know, and then I'll try to pick a style that I don't play. So nothing rock, you know, just to kind of exercise the other notes and try to, you know, develop the ear. Guitar Hack, I can't say I like one better than the other. There's so many good guitarists out, even in our YouTube community. Yeah, man.
Oh,
Yeah. How do you pick a good, you know, your favorite? I mean, there's just too many. There is just too many. Shauna Marie likes Mark Knopfler. There's another one. Eddie Van Halen. There's another one. Soda Pop Hack. Do you think Eddie can play Malmsteen or the other way around? I think Eddie can play Malmsteen. I think so.
I think so too.
And I think the other way around. I think both. Yeah. Jimi Hendrix, Dwayne Allman. Yeah, okay. Ben didn't really take much of a break. Slide guitar is so badass. And of course I have zero. Brian Stewart, don't feel bad. I couldn't play slide to save my life. My only sliding is you know, on the ice in the wintertime. That's about it. Joe's touring with a pair of 60s this tour. Oh, he doesn't get the 59s out? You're killing me, Ben. You're killing me. Yeah, I'm a nerd. We all are. That's why we're here. I'm way back in the chat here. Oh, I think I finally caught up.
So I guess for you, that your ultimate guitar, if you had like unlimited resources and every guitar available, you know, what would you pick? Is it a 59 Les Paul standard studio?
See, here's the funny part, right? I couldn't play one even if I had one because I don't like the neck profile on them.
Right.
I mean, I played the R9.
It could be the most expensive wall hanger ever, but if you could have that one guitar,
yeah,
doesn't matter. You know, just you could get that guitar. What would it be?
I'd probably get a 1960 because you know, a wall hanger, like, no, I'd never put a guitar on the wall just to, no, I couldn't. If I buy it, I'd have to play it because I've played the R9, which is like the Gibson replica version of the guitar, right? Like the the remake of a 59, and I've played one, and I don't like the neck on it. It's a baseball neck, right?
Yeah.
The
So
60s neck.
that's what they call the big C-shaped neck. It's big round.
Yeah, it's a little, yeah. I've got very small hands, right? Like God did not make me build me to play guitar. I don't know what the hell, because I got the absolute worst hands to play guitar. But so I like typically the slim, the slimmer necks. So like for Gibson, it would be what they call the 60s profile necks, and even string gauges. I use lighter gauges. I use nines, and I'll use nines on all my guitars. My Fenders, my Gibsons, my Ernie Ball, Music Man, everything is nines, because I wanted as comfortable as possible to play. Okay. Oldest guitar you ever played? Mayhem and Hack. There's a question. What's the oldest guitar you've ever played?
It wasn't a very nice guitar, but the oldest guitar I played, well, I think it was at a vintage shop downtown in Kingston, and I think I showed Ben a picture of it. I think it was a '65 Telecaster. They wanted like
Oh,
$11,000 for it or something like that.
oh,
I think that's what it was. I know he had one very similar because he had a '71. I think I showed Ben a picture very similar to Ben. I know Ben has a couple of tellies, obviously, but I took a picture of one. It was a '71 telly, and because I know he has that one, it was very similar color, and the guy wanted $9,000 for it, and I
oh
was like,
shit.
oh, wow. So, but
So
yeah, I think it was like a '65 telly was I think the oldest thing I ever played, or '66 or something like that was the Telecaster for sure.
it's funny. Gussie Wells is saying, I've got construction hands. I actually was a construction worker for about 10 years. So,
Have you ever tried the 7 strings, 8 strings?
oh man, forget it. I
But
don't even
have
start.
you tried it though? Have you just played with it?
I yeah, 7 and 8. I know. I don't think I've even
Sure.
seen an 8, but a 7, yeah. And I'm like, I
Well,
can't do
the
this, man.
only reason why I say that is because I was watching a couple of guys that were doing guitar reviews. I don't even know what channel it was, but they had a few. And the one guy commented since he went to a 7 string guitar, he used to be what he called a neck weenie. He used to like really small necks, but he goes, since he started playing the 7 string, he moved his hand up. And he goes,
Yeah,
he doesn't really care so much about the size, but to me, it's the thickness. It's not really the shape.
no,
It's the thickness of the
yeah.
neck. That's what I noticed.
Soda Pop is asking if I've tried a V-shaped neck. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I not a fan. Too much of a V, just I don't know. I find it cramps up my hand. 9.5 strings on the SG. Yeah, I've never tried 9.5. I might do that. I might do that. I'm just quickly going through the chat here. Gussie can't play nines. Yeah, things like that. It's a personal thing. The Dario NYXLs. The Dario NYXLs are great strings. I use those on my sort of my better instruments. I'll use
Right?
that.
Are they more
You know,
expensive?
they sound good and they last a long time. They're a little more expensive. They're like you're paying twice as much,
Okay.
right? So yeah, oldest guitar that I put my hands on. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe just the '70s. Maybe the nothing. I don't think I played anything like a '60s guitar ever. Not that I
Okay.
can remember.
Are you a guitar shopper? Do you like go to the shops and try and find them, or are you an
I
online
don't go to the
buyer?
vintage. Like I don't go to the vintage shops. Like I'll just go to the So, like just the regular stores, right? Like I was in one today. I had to drop off my Marshall combo. Like I said, everything is falling
Falling
apart on
apart.
me. That's getting fixed now. You know, it's good that I don't have any more gigs booked for. Well, it's funny enough.
You have
I
no
mean,
gear. You're out of gear.
yeah, I'm out of gear. Well, it's funny. It's funny. Like last weekend we had the last
That's
what
right.
was the last booking of the year, and the gig was a Friday night gig, so it was really tough for me because I worked all day Saturday, so I gigged Friday night up in Markham, which is like 45 minutes an hour away from me. Came home like at 3 in the morning, got up at 6:30, worked all day, and then I get home and I'm exhausted, and it's like 5 o'clock, and I'm a big cigar guy, right? Got to have my cigar. I'm having my cigar and my scotch there, and then I get a phone call at 5. Hey, you want to play tonight?
I'm already in cigar mode, Scotch.
I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I said I'm exhausted. You want me to Oh, and the place, I think, and the bar was in Kitchener, which is
Wow.
another hour the other way, like west,
Right.
right? I'm like, come on, man. I said, you know what? I said, I'm sorry, but no, I ain't doing it, right? So we actually turned that place down, which is funny because they were stuck for a band. Somebody canceled on them,
Right.
and they were like struggling, calling everybody they knew to see if we could come in and fill in. But I mean, thank God, you never want to be the guy that says no, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you're the guy that says no in the band, and the other guy's like, "Oh man, really? Come on, we really want to do it,"
Yeah.
and then all right,
Mhm.
But everybody turned it down. Nobody wanted to do it. So when you're in a position when you
So
know,
Guitar Hack is saying he hates Kitchener. I'm kidding.
no, no, no.
I'm
It's
kidding. I'm
funny
kidding.
because I played Kitchener like not last weekend, but the week
The weekend
before.
before.
But it's amazing, and it took us a long time to get to this point where we actually say no. Because
Right.
before we didn't have a lot of gigs, and it's like, oh well, we want to take
Play
the gig,
anything.
we want to take, and we're in a position now where and it's taken 4 years, where now you know what, if somebody calls us and we just don't feel like doing it, we just don't do it. So that's kind of nice.
And is
Right?
that like a band consensus? Like, 3 to 4 guys say yes, so you're all in, or is it like a democracy?
Um, yeah, yeah, more or less. I mean, if three guys say no, you don't want to be the guy to,
Yeah, okay.
you don't want to be that guy. Soda Pop says my volume is a little loud with headphones, and you whistle when you speak. Whistle when you work. Um, if
Turn,
anybody else, I
turn
can
your
try
headphones
turning it
down.
down. If
Sounds
anybody
fine to
else
me.
having an issue, let me know. How am I sounding in your headphones?
You sound great. You sound like you always do. It's usually good. Spot
Like,
on.
like I'm underwater. Uh, okay. So yeah, guys, if you got any last questions, please let me know. We're going into 8 o'clock here. If you got any last questions for myself or for Mayhem, again, if you want us to see it, I'm trying my best to catch all the comments, but it's tricky to do.
Yeah,
Just
pretty good.
put at Absolute Mayhem, or put at Guitar Hack, and then it'll light up on my screen, and then I can see it. So that'd be cool. So yeah, we kind of got off topic, but I think the last thing I asked you what your regimen was when you were sitting down to
So
play.
usually what I'll do is I'll force myself. Hey, I don't like doing it, but I'll go for chords for a period of time. I wouldn't say I don't go for 10 minutes every single time, but I'll do chords, and then I'll do like your standard scale. Like, I don't know what they're called, but it's like starts on the fifth fret. And I'll just kind of go through that, and then I also try not to just do the same scale over and over and over again. I'll move it up and down, but it's your basic scale, and I try and skip strings as I go. I don't just go like, do like both fingers on each one string. I'll kind of jump around a little bit, because I found that's what a lot of guys do when they're like, you watch the videos where they're how to play blues or whatever. They'll pick a scale and they'll kind of play it, but they don't play the whole scale. They'll play parts of it. So I just try to, exercise my brain a little bit by trying to just like, yeah, okay, I'm just trying to go from the fifth string down, or E string down to like the D string. I'll skip the string, or I'll
So
pick
so do you know the names of the scales you're playing? Do you know, or do you just know them as shapes?
like the E string starts with the fifth and goes to the eighth, whatever that scale is. I don't know.
So what I'm getting at is like you're saying, okay, I play my scales and I start on the fifth. So the scale you're playing, is it an 8 note scale or is it a 5 note scale?
It's the one you see everybody play all the time.
Okay, so you're playing probably a pentatonic.
Yeah, yeah, that would be the pentatonic scale. Yeah.
Okay, and if you're playing it in A, and you're probably playing the A minor pentatonic. That's probably what you're playing.
Well, what I'll do is that kind of pattern, I just float around the fretboard. Like, I'll move it up and down. I know that it's probably for me, it's a finger exercise versus like a note exercise. Like, I'm not trying to memorize
Mhm.
scale. I'm just doing that as a finger exercise. Like
Right. Okay.
I know that it changes. Like you go like whatever it is, the first string, and then you skip four for the first one, and then it's the first and third, or whatever. And then it
Right.
back, and that changes as you go down. I watched a little bit of Guitar Theory, but I didn't memorize what shapes go on what part of the fret. I just don't care. I'm not,
Yeah.
buddy. I'm not practicing for a band, so it's just
Yeah. Well, it all depends. The reason I'm asking is like it all depends on what you want to do with it, right? Like if you want to be able to sit there and, you know, like play a lead against like
mhm.
a backing track or something, then you have to know, right? You have to know all that stuff, right? If
Yeah.
you know what I mean. If you just want to play like a pieces of a song or a riff or whatever, then you don't necessarily need to know that
Well,
stuff. But
usually
really,
what I'll do is I'll probably watch a YouTube video on a song. I'll pick something like like the first one I did was Paranoid. Then I did Nirvana, Come As You Are. I've done a couple other ones. Some of them I hear the song, I like it.
yeah,
I don't want to play it. It's either too repetitious or I just don't like the way that you have to play it. Um, but what I started doing was playing around with just like a drop D tuning and just playing with the sounds. Just figuring it out. Doing bar chords everywhere. And there's a couple like little patterns you can do over and over that kind of sound like something. You always kind of play a couple notes in a row and like that sounds like a song I've heard before. I have no idea what it is.
yeah. Well,
But
there's a yeah.
I find I do that a lot. I kind of noodle more than anything else. But
Hmm.
I told myself if I'm gonna play the guitar, I'm gonna practice the chords, and I guess it's do the pentatonic scale. Now I know what the actual term is. Um, Before I start playing, I don't want to just pick the guitar up and just start goofing off, or even just like there's a bit of like I want to build a bit of skill, not just playing the guitar. I want to actually, and my chords actually have come along pretty good. And I think the biggest trick that I personally learned was instead of trying to put your fingers down when you're doing a chord, is make the shape above the chord or the strings, and then press it down so that your fingers kind of get used to the shape versus like
Yeah.
going 1, 2, 3, with your
There's
fingers.
there's a guy. I mean, there's a million online
Sure,
teachers, but there's this guy named Steve Stein. I've mentioned him a bunch of times. He's
sure,
amazing, and he's got this thing. He's like, make the shape, make the when you're learning chords,
yeah,
make the shape, put it on the guitar, and then take your fingers off it
yeah. That's exactly what I
and
do.
just bounce it back and forth, right? So that your fingers, when they hit the guitar, they know exactly where they're situated. So Soda Pop is saying, "Hey Hack, Dorian mode is same scale as a pentatonic with a couple of added notes." Yeah, you can say that for every mode, basically, right? I
And
mean, the pentatonic shape, that main shape with the root on the first string, you can apply that to the Phrygian as well. Um, yeah, yeah. Again, I don't want to get into a whole theory mode here. Dorian is the second degree. I want to get in all that, but yeah, like there's, but knowing all that stuff, it's just like, yeah. I mean, I'm a dinosaur too. Like in terms of like, oh shit, I got to learn this to do that, and oh, you know what I mean. Like it's sort of it's all being. I'm trying to force feed myself all this information and stuff, right? But what happens is when you do get your head around it, and more importantly, when you get your ear around it,
right,
then when you start to solo and stuff, you can sort of listen and you can hear those pieces in music. Because like, I'll give you an example. A guy like Randy Rhoads, right? You know, Randy Rhoads is playing like some crazy shit. Like he's not just the straight ahead rock,
right,
you know, pentatonic guy. Like he'll throw in a modal run here and there. Like, I mean, a lot of these guys do that. Like it's sort of like you got the blues players that kind of rely on that, and that's really
yeah,
cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I go on about Ace Frehley. Like Ace Frehley, that's all he does basically, right?
yeah,
But then you got the next level guys like Jimmy Page and his blend of major and minor. That's what makes his stuff interesting, right? And then you got these other guys that are like 100% modal guys, like you got your Satrianis and your Steve Vais and all these kind of guys.
yeah,
But it's like more and more. It just makes everything more and more musical.
yeah,
What gets what the talent is is knowing basically you got all the ingredients. It's like, how do you mix them together to make what you're doing musical, right?
For sure, yeah.
So,
It's like cooking, right?
yeah, it's exactly what it is. So that's kind of what I look at. You know, like if all you love is burgers, man, eat burgers. I love burgers. Everybody loves burgers, right? But if you want to put something else on the burger.
I'm a salad only guy. I'm just
Yeah, there you go. You want to mix the salad with the burger. Well, now you got to get it. You know what I mean? That's kind of the whole thing. It's all ingredients, right? That's kind of how I look at music. Rick Romanelli. Yeah, Rick Romanelli. Jeff Underwood is mentioning him. Yeah, he's a really good guitar player. There's so many guys.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many guys online. He's another
almost
YouTube
debating
guy.
like who the greatest guitar, like how do you tell like
No,
who
you
likes
can't.
it's just like everybody's got their own like what if you heard Led Zeppelin when you were in a fight with your girlfriend in high school or something? You may not like Led Zeppelin. Like
Yeah.
poor guy, he had a breakup or she said she really liked Led Zeppelin and she broke up with you, and now you don't like that band. Like how could you not like Led Zeppelin? Like
Yeah.
it's again it's so subjective,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
See, it's funny. I didn't get it. I didn't get into Zeppelin until I was in my 20s.
Really?
I got into Zeppelin really late, yeah. Because back then, like I was more into, oh man, Sabbath and Kiss, Sabbath, Aerosmith, like those classic records,
Sure.
like the Heaven and Hell record, the Mob Rules. I saw the Mob Rules tour in Toronto. First time I saw Dio, and Dio was another one. Yeah, like I didn't get into Kiss until even Rush. I didn't get into Rush until way later.
Yeah, I always had sprinklings of all that. I mean, I always listened to the classic rock stations, probably because of my dad. He always had like cassette the 8 tracks. He always had like Bob Seger, and he had a mix of like he liked country, but he always had a mix of like kind of like old rock, the Beach Boys even, not John Cougar, CCR.
Oh yeah.
Those kind of like old, like the 70s. I always remember driving around my dad's like 76 Monte Carlo with a big 8-track, and I used to love that. It had a really good set of speakers in it, so it was kind of loud for a car back in the day, and it was just a straight factory model 8-track, and it just, man, used to love doing that. It's probably why I like cars.
The CCR stuff. I mean, if you're in a bar band, you got to play some CCR, and that stuff. It's really really simple, but it's really fun to play.
Sure, I bet. Yeah.
Because it's got the hooks are great in their stuff. So Brian Stewart is saying Ace is very underrated in my opinion, and he's playing better now than ever, a decade sober. Yeah, Brian Stewart, I'm not taking anything away from Ace. Ace is in my DNA. Anyone who's heard me play, that's all I hear is, man, like stop copying Ace. But anyway, but no, he's great. I'm just saying, like, well, I mean, if you're a player, you'll know this as well as I do. He plays a lot of pentatonic stuff. Again, not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
But that's what he does. Brian Stewart also mentions as AC/DC a lot of pentatonic, but Angus does some really tasty, puts in some tasty major stuff in this wall, which makes it sound really cool. Brian Stewart, I'll keep going back to his comments because Brian Stewart is another Kiss fan. So his progression was Kiss, Aerosmith, AC/DC, Zepp, and then it went to Motley. Ate up with Motley in the 80s. Yeah, Motley Crue for me was the Shot at the Devil record. I saw Motley Crue the first time they ever played Toronto.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was literally right in the front. Like I don't know, I could feel the heat off their friggin' flames.
Right.
Oh man, it was burning my friggin' eyebrows off. That's how close I was standing right in front of Mick Mars. It's the first time they played, and it was at the Coliseum at the CNE. Which is basically, it's just, where they do the horses. They have the horses walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was there. I was like, I don't know, 17. I was there with a bunch of buddies. It was general admission. Okay.
General admission.
It was insane. We all went, like, so it was me and a bunch of guys. I think it's 5 of us, right? So we went and a lineup, and they had these steel doors. And when the steel doors opened up, there was like about 3 or 4 stairs. Once the doors opened up, my feet left the ground. I was carried into the place. I kid you not. It was
by the mob.
it was the scariest feeling in the world. So I'm up like this, and my feet were floating. I didn't, and my feet didn't hit the floor until we were in the venue. Just
Wow.
from like I don't know how nobody got killed. Now I know how people can get killed when they have these like
Emergencies and stuff, and they go
general
trample
seating
out.
things. Like that was insane. Then my feet hit the floor, and then I just, like all of us, we just ran like hell for the front of the stage, and we literally got like right in front. And the other thing that was kind of funny was when we were up and all floating, we all grabbed onto each other.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I'm telling you, it was crazy. I mean, I was 17. What sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You're indestructible at 17, right?
yeah, you think you are anyway. But that was an amazing show, man. And that was the Shout at the Devil. That was the record. They had the outfits and everything. And if I'm not mistaken, Accept opened that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when they had Udo, the little guy with the gravelly voice, and they had the balls to the walls, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great tune. Okay, I think we're about ready to pack it up here, folks. If anybody, I've said that a couple of times. I don't think you're yakking
But
again.
we just keep talking, yeah.
Yeah, but if anybody's got any last minute questions, things they want to add, by all means, pop them
delivery
in,
service.
And we'll go from there. So I'll give it a couple more minutes. Okay. Coffee delivery service. So any last minute questions? Kevin Lester, enjoyed the show. Thank you so much. Such service. Yeah, I've been married for I don't even know how many years.
Bottle service.
How many years is that? 20? It's 19. 19. It's 2018, right?
You're gonna have to edit the video now.
Yeah, no, 28 years. 28 years. And I gotta say, in a row.
In a row. Yeah,
you got to put that.
I've been married for 22 years.
22. Is that in a row?
In a row.
Okay, you got to say that. In a row. Continuous.
I didn't know that was a thing. You could add them together. But.
Yeah. But Guitar Girl says you just got more fuel. Yeah, I did get a little more fuel. Okay, Dave R, enjoyed the show. Thanks so much.
Yeah, Thrash Metal, I'll look up your videos after this. I'm surprised no one asked me to start the car. Maybe it's because they thought I was inside.
Well, let's see if we get any time left for Rooster Chat. Yeah, you know what? No Rooster Chat, and also, I didn't get a hack crack the hack question from Jimmy T, or maybe he did ask me and I didn't catch it. Jimmy T, if you're still in the chat, give me a crack the hack. I miss those, man. Those are cool. Oh, Blackjack's in the house.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Blackjack, how are you?
That was a nice guitar she on the parking lot review.
Smoke, what was that? A smokehouse something or other? Smokehouse finish?
Smokehouse burst or something? Smoke burst?
Yeah. You know, it's funny, like in the States they have all these finishes and things that like I don't see them here, you know what I mean? You know, like all these, like it's funny because today I was at the as Ken calls it, the Evil Empire. I was at Lon McQuaid.
Yeah, that's what I refer to it now too.
Yeah. And anyways, and I was talking to the guy there, and I was asking him, like, do you have any of the 2019 Les Paul Classics? Because they've got Zebra 61 Zebra pickups on them, and I wanted to try it out, right? And who came up with the name Kiss? It was Paul Stanley. Sorry. Anyways, so they had I asked them if it was going to have any in, and he goes, well, let me check. But then, so if you go on Gibson, the website, and then I guess for the American market, they got a beautiful Honeyburst, and then they're available in Honeyburst and Gold Top. But what is our Canadian, what are we going to get?
The Blueberry Burst or something?
We're going to get black, which I already have black, and we're going to get like a cherry.
Okay.
And I'm like, so I'm saying to the guy, like, hey man, like, why don't we get, that must be for the American market. So they always get the better stuff. So I gotta go down there, or I gotta order it from Sweetwater or one of these to try to get the finishes I want.
Cheers, I guess. A little late, but.
Oh yeah, sorry man. Cheers. I got my Tim's here.
I got my Canadian Dan Aykroyd vodka. Sweet, sweet bottle.
Oh yeah, the skeleton head. Yeah, that's cool, man. Smokehouse. It's called Smokehouse.
Smokehouse. That's
That's the
cool.
finish.
It's nice.
Yeah, Brian Stewart. Ace came up with the lightning bolt S's. Yes.
Barbecue is the new Gibson color.
Gene Simmons wanted to name it. Yes. Another name was Albatross. Potential name. Ed Dana. Ed Dana's in the house. Ed Dana just woke up. Ed Dana, you woke up, but I'm having the coffee, brother. Barbecue is the new Gibson color. That's what you're looking at. Yeah. Well, Paul Lou says, I hope that room is well ventilated.
It is actually. It's huge. I should have did a walk around, but it's yeah. That's why my wife's like, you only bought the house because of the garage. I'm like, I know I like the kitchen, kind of. The basement was okay, but yeah, when I walked in, I think I told you this. Maybe it wasn't you, but when I bought the house, I walked in and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna look at the garage first. There was only photos from the outside, but it's a 1.5 car garage door. I thought it was 2 car, but it's there's a door in the way, so I can't get the full 2 cars. But went and checked the house up, upstairs, downstairs, bedrooms. Floor was a little bit squeaky. Basement was kind of nice. Kitchen had a nice layout, but really dated. But I figured if I put a bit of money into it, I'd just buy it. And then I went out to the garage, and the real estate agent was standing in the garage, and I looked around, and I walked into the garage. She's like, "Oh, I think there's a back part." And then she opened those doors up, and I seen the workshop back here. And I looked at her, and I'm like, "Sold." She
Sold.
was, "You gonna talk to your wife?" I'm like, "I'll convince her." Like,
Yeah.
And then that's when I bought, and that was 2015.
So Ed Dana's saying when he bought his house, it was partly because of the garage too. So you're not alone.
The only thing I'd do to this place, I'd read. If I stay here long enough, I'm gonna redo the floor. I'm gonna get the floor recovered or whatever, refinished, resurfaced, I guess. But it's got hot and cold water in the garage. It's got its own fuse panel. I've got a center drain, so I can car detail. That's one of my other hobbies is car detailing. I could have did a whole show on that alone. I'm not gonna put the camera now, but I have probably as much car detailing gear as you've got in like amps and pedals and picks.
Yeah.
I've got thousands of dollars worth of car cleaning products, and that's kind of when I bought the house. I was like, I could detail, and then I'm like, my car doesn't like any other car being in this garage. It's like that's its spot.
That's funny.
So
Gussie Wells is going to start up his Honda Civic. Go for it, buddy.
there you go, buddy.
There you go. Jeff Underwood. Oh, this is very nice. Both you guys are awesome, and I'm glad to have been here. Hey, man, much appreciated, Jeff. We appreciate everybody popping in, man. You guys are great. Appreciate everybody. So I say this every show, so I'm going to say it again. If you haven't already subbed to me, please do sub. And if you like the video, please hit the thumbs up. Also below, I've got a link to my Facebook page. If you want to message me about anything I offered earlier, I can help you with some guitar stuff, whatever. We'll do a one-on-one. Again, I'm not charging any money. But my Facebook page is below. Below that, I've got a bunch of great channels that you can sub to. I can't list them all. If you go to my subs, you can look at all my subs. I got some fantastic people there. Sub to each other in the chat. There's so much, talent and just really good information amongst all of us. Sub each other. I'm a big proponent to building the community, keeping this community growing, keeping it positive, keeping it strong. Again, I'm relatively new to it, but I'm impressed every day with the folks that come on here, the support that I've been getting, and I wish that upon everybody in the community. So please keep that up and keep that going. Okay, I got one more question. Oh, Ed Dana asks, "Hey Hack, what is that Hughes and Kettner?" That's a 212 cab, Ed. It's my gigging cab. I've got 2 vintage 30s in there, and I've got a Hughes and Kettner. Usually, I've got 2 heads that I use, and one of them is a Hughes and Kettner. It's the Tubemeister, the 36-watt Tubemeister. So they kind of go together, and it sounds great. It sounds great. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up at this point. We've been going for, it's been like an hour and 24. So again, thanks so much, everybody. Please keep supporting each other. Please keep it positive. And a couple of announcements. Thursday, I'm going to be going live again. Just my solo stream. I've got a wonderful person, great guest, special guest coming up next Monday. Some of you may know him. His name is Simon Williams. If you are interested at all in music history, rock history from England, this guy was there. He lived it. He experienced it. Oh yeah, this guy's is fantastic. Talking to this guy is like talking to a British rock encyclopedia.
Right.
We're talking like Rolling Stones, like Led Zeppelin, like their first gigs, like the whole package.
Wow.
Yeah, you check out the show, man. It's going to be great. So his name is Simon Williams. I will have him on Monday at 7 p.m. So that's this coming Monday. This coming Thursday, I'll be on here doing my solo show. So please, folks, come on back. Check it out. It should be a lot of fun. I'd like to thank Absolute Mayhem for coming on here.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Oh, I had a blast.
It was fun. This time just friggin' blew by. And when that happens, you know it was a good time. Yeah.
Just like when we were in Port Hope, it just seemed like time
just
flew by.
Up the conversation, exactly. Okay, folks, take care. Absolute, stay on for a bit.
Sure.
Okay, folks, we'll see you all. Hopefully, we'll check you out on Thursday. Cheers.